preparing for shoot like this. I like this kind of preparing, organizing, and doing all these tedious stuff for photos. So I think this channel is going to be a place for that. Anyway, thank you very much, and please continue watching. Hi, welcome to another vlog. This is Misa. I just finished this roll of Agfa APX 100, which I bought bulk roll. This is 30.5 meters of that film. I put this into film loader and make my 12 exposure tiny roll of film myself. So I just finished this, and I didn't have enough stock to put next, so I'm going to make some today. So here is my empty film cases, and actually under that there are a lot of this empty film case, empty film patrone. I think these are from disposable camera, 映るんです in Japan. I bought this like I don't know how many there were, maybe 40, 50 of these on Mercari in Japan. It was actually from Fuji color DPN shop in Hokuriku area. So I think they developed these for their customers, and they leave a little bit of the old film here, so I can tape a new one and make my own roll of film from. Okay, so this one I have used and have this tape, so the label, so I think this is easier to use. And for this camera, this is Olympus Pen D3, so this takes half frame pictures. So usually if I buy like a normal film, 36 exposures can go last 72 exposures on half frame, and that is too much for a roll for me. So I make myself 12 exposure for this camera. Okay, so oh, by the way, and this film loader is great, working great for me. I printed this on a 3D print. So firstly I take this much of masking tape, tape it to the old film, stick it to the new film, aligning them well. Close the tape, roll in a little bit, and then close the lid, put the clamp, and here we can see for 12 exposures we have to crank 15 times. So I always crank a little bit more. and get maybe 18 photos out of this roll. I used the wrong one. It's fine, I can label them. Yeah, let's make some more first. I store these in a dark box just in case. So I made 3 today. And I keep these small bits of film in this box for like a film test to see if my fixer is still good or not. Okay, it's a little bits. Now let's load this camera with a freshly rolled film. ISO, and I have to set the counter myself, so it's 12 exposure in half frame, so it's 24 ready. Now I'm going to the library and supermarket, so I'm going to bring this camera with me today, and we are going to maybe develop this today, but I want to print from the last film I showed you in the last vlog, so we might do that today. I don't know yet, but please stay with me. Oh, and by the way, thank you very much for watching the last video and subscribing and commenting. It was so encouraging for me. I was doubting still after uploading the video that maybe I shouldn't have done it, or maybe I should have done it in Japanese. My English was so bad, I speak so slow, and nobody would watch this video. But I was so happy to see some of you liked it, commented, and subscribed, and first of all watch my video. Thank you very much for that, all of that. That encouraged me to continue making this kind of video. I like the process, so I'm not going to scan my film and show them all to you, but I want to show the prints, and I want to show the process of developing and printing and preparing for shoot like this. I like this kind of preparing, organizing, and doing all these tedious stuff for photos. So I think this channel is going to be a place for that. Anyway, thank you very much, and please continue watching. So it's the next day. The day I was going to print some of these photos, I figured out that my safelight timer stopped working for the safelight. It didn't. It works for enlarger, but the safelight won't even turn on if it's plugged in here. So I had to spend one night fixing this. I opened this box from the back side, and the inside was pretty simple, I guess. I have no knowledge about circuit thing, but it looked really analog to me. So I tried to spot what part of it was doing bad, and I saw one part had a white liquid at the end of the parts, and I asked my husband if it's looking suspicious, and he said it might be a glue, but when I touched it with some of my like needle tool, it was liquid, like not solid. I came to a conclusion that it was pretty new stuff coming out of the battery looking thing, and it's actually it was this thing. It's a condenser, I learned. I had no idea what this was, but my husband told me it might be a condenser, and I googled it and we figured out the capacity and model number here. So I ran to Akihabara to buy one of these, something similar to this. Yeah, I couldn't find the exact one, but I found alternative one, and it costed only 30 yen, which is less than $1. So I came back and tried taking this apart from the original circuit, and I soldered a new one, and it worked. I couldn't believe I fixed it, but I was so happy I solved the problem myself. Okay, so the next day I could print. It was yesterday. So let me show you some of the prints. All of them, actually. I have all of them here. So firstly, I printed one of the picture I took on the last vlog. They are all from the last vlog. So I walked around Komagome and Tabata area in Tokyo, Kitaku Ward, and I took some of the pictures for small businesses around there. And this was the first print and the final version of it. I started this with some test strips. I set the enlarger for the last roll of 120 film, and it was too bright. The last roll I took way darker, underexposed, so I used this kind of setting, but I set the aperture one stop up, and I think I picked 6 seconds, 2, 4, 6 seconds, and printed this. And today I thought I should have done the test strip in the around the main subject, which is this shop front. But I liked that this flag said tofu, saying tofu, so I did a test strip here. But yeah, it might have been a bit too dark for the main part. Yes. So this was the first trial, and as you can see, there are some bright part here. I made this negative carrier myself because this enlarger didn't come with this 645 negative carrier, so I modeled this on Tinkercad and printed on 3D printer. But when I use this, the area is too maybe too big for this enlarger, and I get significantly less light on either end or both ends. Yeah, so I burned the road a little bit on this version, and I think it's working okay. Yeah, so this was my first print. And the next one I printed was this. It might be harder to see on the screen, but this is a photograph of another small business on another shopping street. I think this shop was a fish shop, and I liked the small lights they were using. There were nobody around the shop, but they opened a little bit of the door to potential customers, and the sun was setting, and I felt maybe I could catch the atmosphere. So this is actually too bright for me, and I increased the contrast. So my enlarger is a color enlarger, so I can change the filter, magenta and yellow filter, and this was 70 magenta, 30 yellow, and I increased the contrast by setting magenta 90 magenta, 10 yellow. You can see it's looking really different. By the way, the paper I'm using is so the paper I used is this Foma speed variant 312. It's 5 inch by 7 inch. It's a RC paper, matte multigrade paper, so I can change the contrast on the enlarger. And I pretty like this paper. It was the cheapest option I could get online, but you can see the significant change on contrast. I mean this and this, sorry, this was the 70-30, this is 90-10. And I thought this was a little bit too much contrasty. It increased the texture on the wall, and everything looks a little bit too grungy. It was actually a really old building, but this was a bit too much. So I fixed it to 80-20 next. This one. This is actually in the middle of these two versions, and I think I like it. Yeah, and I was going to burn this highlight a little bit, or the whole outside part around the building, but I forgot, and I was too lazy or it was getting late last night, so I told myself this was enough. But by printing this, I could see like some, I don't know how to call this in English, but some moisture on the glass and some reflection from across from the road was on the glass. And yeah, I was surprised to see a lot of texture and details in the negative. Yes. So this was my second one, and the third one I printed was actually, I didn't expect it to work at all, because from my contact sheet I printed all of these last four, not all, but this was the tofu shop and this was the fish shop, and the last one I printed was this, and this I took in a real shadow just beside a wall behind a building and there were no direct light or little light at all, and sun was getting down. So I thought, oh, I miss exposure on this one, and I printed this first in less exposure time, 4 seconds. This was 6 seconds, but this was 4 to bring it a little bit brighter. And the contrast is the same as the last final one, 80 magenta, 20 yellow, and this was this is what it turned out. It's really vague, but I was surprised to see the actual plant I took. I wanted to focus on this one, but this is mostly in focus, and I was surprised to see how detailed the line of the plant, like the stem, looks. So I tried printing this one as well, but with a little effort. So as you can see, it's really pale. So I brought the contrast up to 90-10 again, and you can see the same problem we had on this one, this less light coming from the enlarger. You can see here and also on top part as well. It's really vague on either end, so I tried to burn both of them, like covering like this, and so I bring up the contrast and burned the top and the bottom a little bit, and this is the result. You can see it's darker and with a little bit more contrast, and if you look closer you can see the plant. It's not a good picture at all, but this is a study for me. Like all of the pictures I took in this row, I looked for some interesting shapes or subjects, but didn't think about light much. And I was using expired film, and I really should have think about light more, or overexposuring it a little bit. Yeah, so I learned a lot about metering light and finding object to photograph in the first hand. This was like a test if I can capture anything in the shadow. And yeah, we can see some of them, and I like how, again, the texture on the wall and on the ground, and how we can see the fine line of the stem. Yeah, so I learned a lot. It's not a beautiful picture, but it's fine. It's fine. Yes. So, anyway, the end result is this pile of several versions of pictures, but the final print is this, and this. So before this medium format experiment, I used to print everything in L size, a smaller size, because I took them in 35mm film, and I usually use half frame camera. Some of them I use my Contax T, the full size, but so I use smaller paper. But for the medium format, I thought this is too small of a print to see the detail from the medium format film, so I bought this bigger, relatively bigger size paper, and I like it. We can see a lot. Even in this size, the detail it's full of detail and texture. I like them. Yeah, so I want to try taking more of the pictures in the Zenobia art and play around with this theme. I like to capture the small businesses in Japan, in around my area, and anywhere I go, I want to capture them. So this was my trial first two of the series, I think. Yes, so I'm going to put the final prints in my album and then other tests on my notebook. Thank you very much for watching this vlog. My son is needing me, I guess, so I have to go. Thank you very much. Bye bye.